Hi, everybody. Welcome to yet another inspiring interview. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to highly sensitive entrepreneur Gitte Lassen. Hi, Gitte. Welcome. I'm so happy that you're here today.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me on your interview series.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure to find a new highly sensitive entrepreneur who wants to inspire others. Can you tell us a little bit more about your company?
Yes, I can. And what is kind of interesting for me is right now it's in the middle of an evolution.
Ah,
So I have been entrepreneur or self-employed, for almost 30 years. It makes me feel
wow.
very old. But it has gone through several evolutions. So to
Mhm.
put it like very, very, very short in two words, I'm empowerment coach for women. But
Awesome.
how that has been over the years is actually changing, and there's another change coming up right this moment
Mhm.
that I'm really, really excited about also.
Cool. You've basically just answered the next question, because my next question would have been, did you always know that this was the type of company that you wanted to start? And based on your answer just now, I think you had a different company in mind when you started, and it evolved a couple of times into something new. Am I
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, actually, I haven't put it in those words before, but yes. It kind of ended up back in 1991. I was sort of at a crossroads because I'd finished my university education.
Mm-hmm.
I have a master's in geophysics, which is completely different from what I'm doing now. So, the value of university education. Anyway, and I was kind of wondering, would I continue with that and or would I go the way of personal transformation, emotional healing, like those kind of things?
Mm-hmm.
And I did an exercise was a book that was around at that time to help you find your purpose in life. And I found my purpose in life was to, in the words at that time, to be a powerful healer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure I would use the word healer today, but the powerful part, that stuck with me. And it's not like I felt powerful at that time, but that was the right words. And I remember
Yeah.
being so angry, it felt like smoke were coming out of my ears because I wanted to be a spiritual healer or a kind healer or a loving healer or sweet
Yeah.
healer or whatever. Anyway, so I think that was one of my first leaps of faith. Then I decided to just close the door on my geophysics and
Mhm.
pursue that path. And then, of course, following along with my own personal evolution, how the outside form of me uh, being a powerful healer or empowerment coach, has changed so much over the years.
Yes, I can imagine. What would you say was your biggest reason for wanting to start your company, for wanting to make that big switch?
Besides that exercise, so that was my purpose in life. And that was not just, by the way, a mental exercise. I mean, it was like, because it was at the crossroad, it like caught me at the right time where I really, really, really wanted to know where do I go next, because I
Yes.
already had a beginning, an interest in personal transformation, had taken some workshops, and I learned rebirthing. I mean, it was all the way back in those days, and
Wow.
so when that came up, it was kind of, and I had also just moved to another country. We were just talking about that before, but I had also
Mhm.
at the same time just moved to another country. So there was I was really at a crossroads.
Yes, a lot of change.
And I just decided to go for it. It's like, I think one of the things that motivates me is that I cannot unknow what I know. So when I know what
Mhm.
is the right thing for me to do, I cannot not do it because I cannot
Yes.
unknow it. So not acting on it, it's like, I don't know, that would drive me nuts.
Yes, I can imagine. Yeah. I am the same way. Once I feel something in deep inside me that that's the right course of action, then I need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm hearing you say. So I understand. Were there any doubts of or obstacles that you had to overcome? The pursuit is,
a multitude.
yes.
I mean, first of all, I was in a foreign country that I had just moved there.
Mm,
So everything was in different language. I didn't know anything. It was a lot of me having to really, really, really step out of my comfort zone.
yes.
Because back then I started working as a massage therapist,
Mm-hmm.
and which I've been training kind of like, what do you call it? Like body mind massage therapy. It was not just body, but it's mind for emotional healing and stuff.
Yeah.
And just moving to a new country and have to make a living, you know, it's like you can't just sit there and feel sorry for yourself and be afraid. I mean, you really got to push out of your comfort zone. And I remember like contacting all these gyms and chiropractic offices, you know, would you be interested in having me coming here and doing massage in exchange for a commission, you know, offering. So there was tons of doubt, you know, and also this part I can't remember, but I'm sure it was there, you know, am I good enough at it? But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it was very evident that my clients loved me. So that part I
Yes.
got over. But there was, yeah, I mean, there's always this, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yes. Well, that's another one of my questions. Have you ever suffered from the I'm not good enough syndrome? So, yes, right?
Yes. And I also want to say that that's many, many years ago since I did that.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
mean,
how did you overcome that? How did you handle it?
I kept working on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's sort of like my guiding thing in life. You know, I keep up with my personal transformation. I always have a coach or a mentor or a healer or whatever, going on retreats, workshops for my personal transformation. And I think at one point, I just realized I could trust myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean I know how to handle a situation. It doesn't mean that I'm great at what I'm doing, but it means that I can trust myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the core or the foundation of the confidence I have in myself today.
Yeah, I think that's a very important foundation to have that unwavering trust in your intuition, and that it will guide you to where you need to go. The trust in yourself that you will figure it out and that it will be okay.
Yeah. And figure, you know, the trust that I can learn whatever I need to learn. If a difficult situation comes up, I will handle it. I might not handle it gracefully because I'm not necessarily the most graceful person in the world, but I will handle it, you know?
Yes. And you might learn 1, 2, or 50 things depending on how you handle it, but you will still handle it. And that's a very empowering knowledge to have, I think.
Yeah. And I think that along with this also comes that I will handle it and I will have a lot of feelings about it. And those feelings are not going to be the end of me, and they're just feelings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think this is because so often it's the feelings that stops us, because the feelings trigger the thoughts.
Yes.
But it really comes from the feelings, right? So if you can learn not to take your feelings so serious, they are not the same like massive stop sign in front of you.
No, you are not your feelings. You just have feelings, and they are trying to tell you something. So you need to listen to them, because you don't have the feelings for nothing. Mm-hmm. But you are not your feelings, and it means you have a choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an important distinction. So it's an important message also for the viewers that are watching this interview today. All highly sensitive people have feelings. It's who we are. But you are a highly sensitive person, and you are not your feelings. And you also have a choice in one. You can choose to be happy, and you can choose to be sad, and you can choose to do stuff, and you can choose to not do stuff. And everything is about choices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's speaking about highly sensitive people, right? It's like there was a number of years, not so long time ago, where I was really focusing on highly sensitive people as my clients. Mm-hmm. And my tagline was from painfully to powerfully sensitive. So one of the things that's floating around with being a highly sensitive person is that it's painful. You know, it's difficult many times in modern society, no doubt about it. And you can still get to a point where your high sensitivity becomes it's like something that enables you to even move further in life and lift yourself higher.
Your greatest asset.
Yes. And one of the things, I was working with at that time is like highly sensitive people need boundaries. It's like the number 1, 2, and 3 requirement if they ever want to get around seeing being highly sensitive as a weakness rather than a superpower.
Yes.
And that includes emotional boundaries and energy boundaries. And you don't hear many people talk about them.
Yes.
So, I created this whole online program and workshop around it at that time.
Cool. Yes, it's exactly what I'm doing with people that come to me. I am teaching them to see their sensitivity as their superpower, and to make it their biggest assets, and to be their effortless self because of it.
Yes. And they totally need to learn, because this is part of their high sensitivity, right? Is the empathy. Like you have to learn not to take on other people's feelings and other people's energies.
Exactly.
That's why boundaries are so important. So
I agree.
And once you have it, I mean, I have not considered my high sensitivity a weakness for many, many years. I mean, when I learned about being a highly sensitive person, it was already not a problem for me. And I really, really appreciate how it adds value to the work I'm doing. Because being highly sensitive allows me to see my clients more clearly. Like we have this added depth of perception, and the more clearly I can see my clients, the better I'm able to help them.
Yes, that's true. I always say that we can read between the lines and hear the things that are not being said.
Yeah, or as one of my clients said, it's like, "Oh, Gitte, I can never hide anything. You read me like an open book."
Yes, exactly. Like not just my clients, my friends say the same.
Yes. And it's such a beautiful gift to bring out to the world and help other people,
I agree. What would you say was your biggest aha moment in all the years that you've been an entrepreneur?
That's a really good question.
Thank you.
I don't necessarily know that there is one aha moment. But maybe sort of the slow realization is that I had the power in me to make things happen. So I had the power in me to succeed as an entrepreneur. I have the power in me to move to Italy, like we were talking about. I have the power in me to transform myself into another version of myself. I have the power in me to take a leap of faith and let my business evolve, to another level.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not an aha moment in like a split second, but sort of.
That's a very empowering realization.
Yes, I can and I will.
Yeah. And are there things that you would never have accomplished if you had not been an entrepreneur?
Well, for one thing, I wouldn't be who I am today, obviously, because as I mentioned before, like personal transformation, my own personal transformation is kind of like my driving force in life. And a lot of that transformation has happened through my business. So in order to take my business to where I wanted it to be, I had to change myself to become that person who could have that kind of business.
Yes, that's what I hear. Also, I know this from personal experience, but I also hear it a lot in the interviews that becoming an entrepreneur also has great benefits for your personal development and for getting to know yourself really well and developing yourself to become the person that you feel in your core that you actually are.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, there are challenges to being an entrepreneur, self-employed.
Yes.
As we talked about, I have always been self-employed except for a few periods, like of a few months here and there. And while I certainly appreciate this regular paycheck, but man, it kills my soul, to do work like that. And also for me, the freedom to follow my own truth is so, so, so important to me. I don't think I could ever give it up.
No, that's for me one of the three topmost benefits of being an entrepreneur. Do you see any other benefits? If you would talk about your top three, or freedom might be the first one, what others do you see?
Yeah. Freedom to me is maybe more about being allowed to be fully myself, the freedom to be completely myself, rather than the time freedom or the travel freedom, like that kind of freedom. I mean, it's still work, you still have to show up and do your work, and you have some flexibility around scheduling vacations. And you also lose that if you have kids, that go to school.
Yes.
So I think the real freedom to me is that I am free to follow my own truth all the way. And I'm free to be all of me, not just a part of me that fits into the job description box, right? Another benefit is that I think it's creativity. Because once you're an entrepreneur, right, it's like you become the artist of your own life.
Yes.
So your business is like a blank canvas, and you can choose what to paint on it.
Yes.
And if you want to paint another painting, you just, well, okay, that's done. Now we get another blank canvas up and out, paint a new painting. And I like that part. And what's number three? Oh, I meet the most wonderful people through my business.
Yes.
Clients and colleagues and teachers. There's some wonderful people out there, and they all come to me through my business. So yes, definitely.
I agree. I'm experiencing the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how it was for you, but when I was in employment, I never really felt that this was my place. I never felt that I fit in. I was never really happy. I was also often insecure about myself, my role within the company, if I was good enough. It was not really an enjoyable experience. And I thought everybody had that, and that was normal, but I found out that it's not normal. It's when you are not doing the things that are actually right for you, then that's how you feel. And that for me is the biggest change in becoming an entrepreneur, that I am happy. I feel happy in my skin. I have the freedom, like you said, also to do the things I want to do, to work with the clients I want to work, to think of the things I want to do, like an online program or a retreat or coaching or whatever it is that I want to create. I can create it, the blank canvas, and that's something that I really enjoy. And especially also meeting all the people, not just in Holland, but like you, all over the world. And it's so rewarding to meet those people, to be able to work on yourself and to feel yourself becoming more and more the person that deep down, if you're really honest, you actually always knew that you were.
Yeah. Yes. And then on top of that, who else can you become?
Yes. I think the best thing to become is truly yourself.
Yes. And then what else is there in you that can come out?
Yes. Which other aspects of your personality or...
How can you grow even more? It's like, how can you bring more of yourself out into the world?
Yes.
And one of the ways I'm thinking of it is like, I came across this quote one, and I can't remember the exact words, but it's like, there's nothing better than knowing that at the end of your life, you have used yourself for a purpose higher than yourself or your own or whatever, but that you have been used up. And to me, it's like what is very satisfying and fulfilling to me is that in my work that I do with my clients and retreats and workshops, whatever, I use myself up. It's like I give all of me, whereas if I had been in a job, like it's like, how I felt being employed. I have only ever had short-term temporary jobs. I always knew they were temporary. So yeah, I didn't belong, but I knew that before I got in there. So that's why it was only temporary. But the part that was frustrating about it, I didn't really get to use myself. So Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have a steady paycheck, but I wasn't using myself, and there's that frustration that
Yes,
there's more in me, that is more in me, there's more in me, and I
not
want to get
coming
it all
out.
out before I die.
Yeah. Yes, I know that feeling very well, and I think a lot of you who are watching this interview today know that feeling really well as well. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a big reason why I wanted to do these interviews, to show you that there are other possibilities out there, that it doesn't have to be this way. So I hope that you will listen, and that you will feel inspired by us telling all these things. Do you maybe have a message to everybody that's watching today and that's stuck in doubts, or that is stuck in a job that they don't love and are maybe considering becoming an entrepreneur but are afraid?
Yeah, well, I have many tips, so let me see if I can distill them. It's like, if it's truly your heart's desire to go out and be an entrepreneur, become self-employed, or, however you want to say it, it's like, how would you feel about not knowing that or not acting on it? Because I think that's important also. It's not just about doing it, but it's also being aware of what are the costs of not acting on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like really, really, really letting yourself down on a very important level.
Yes.
And it's like coming to 30 years down the road and regretting you didn't even do it. It's
Yes.
like playing it safe. So yeah, it's playing it safe, but I don't think there's a whole lot of joy in it. I think joy is one of the best feelings in life.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I think you will never have any regrets over things you did do,
Yeah,
but you do have regrets over the things you didn't
yeah,
do.
yeah.
So even if it's scary as hell, even if it stretches your comfort zone, I think you won't regret it when you do it, if it feels like the right thing to do.
Yes. And then, of course, how does it feel like the right thing? Because there's always this, it's just an idea. Can I trust this, my intuition, my gut feeling, whatever? And
Yeah.
I think maybe the key is the gut feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So the other tip I was thinking of, it's like, which is a pitfall I have fallen into, is like, don't follow other people's formulas.
Yes.
It is like building being a successful entrepreneur requires two things, right? And there's this great book that is written about it, the E-Myth Revisited,
Mm-hmm.
which would be a required reading for all entrepreneurs, is that yes, you have the skills, like you said, you were an acupuncturist, and a coach, and I do my thing. And then you also have to learn how to build a successful business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an education. It's like, how do you build a successful business? That's very separate from your skills of your service.
Yes.
And I
That's
think
true.
that's important to have in mind, that if you want to go out, you actually have to educate yourself in all that.
Yes.
And for me, that was like a 2, 3 year, 5 year. I probably spent 5 years learning that.
Mm-hmm.
Learning how to market, learning how to build a business, learning how to build a following, because mine was very much on the internet. And, learning how to brand myself, learning how to say the right words on the website, and,
Yes.
making the free gifts, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right?
That's my
And
experience as well. It's a learning trajectory. I don't think you ever stop learning. But what I also think is really important, and that's what I did wrong in the beginning, or maybe it was just a lesson I needed to learn. But in the beginning, I took everything that I learned at face value, and I tried to do it the way they taught me to.
mhm,
And what I've learned since then is that it's important to feel if it's right for you, to take in all the lessons, and then to make your version out of what
yeah,
you've been taught.
yeah,
And not
that was
one
going to be my
copying.
next tip.
Yes, exactly. That's what I thought you meant.
Yeah,
That's a very important thing, that you let yourself be inspired by others, gather your knowledge, and then distill whatever works for you, and then mix it up with your own flavor, and then put it out there.
yeah. So for example, I took a lot of learning about building up a very successful business based on online courses. And I realized that The information was great. I learned a lot, but doing online courses it's kind of a nice idea, but it's not really who I am. I want to interact with people.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't do that very much in online courses. And I wouldn't have known that until I first gone through that process of learning how to, create a successful business around online courses, that, my true thing is I actually want to work with people, one-on-one or in small groups, on retreats or whatever, or in small mastermind groups. This is what gives me the most joy.
Yes.
So, and that means that, I have these online courses, I'm not going to use them anymore, and this is part of my, evolution also,
Yes.
like I
Learning,
mentioned
growing.
before, that I was an empowerment coach, right? So I've been taking people, the saying, you have to let go of the bad to get to the good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, this is what I did, and then I took them from the good to the great, right?
Yes.
Now I'm going to take them from the great to the magnificence.
Awesome.
So, and this is very exciting for me to go into, because all the way up until you get to the great, you can use methods and techniques and formulaic processes and therapy and coaching and stuff. But when it goes from the great, you really step into the, the realm of multi-dimensionality and magic and mystery and stuff. So I'm really excited going into that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can imagine.
Totally.
Thank you for your message to the viewers for today. Mm-hmm. We talked about it in the beginning, and you wanted to give something to the viewers today. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, I mean, I do a lot of Facebook live streams where I share my knowledge. The best place to find me about that is in my Facebook group that's called Magical, Mystical, Magnificent Women. Doesn't it sound great?
It sounds great. So magical, mystical, magnificent women.
Women, yes. And if you go to my website, gittelassen.com, there is a free ebook you can download for, what is that? The Gift and the Promise. And it's about being a highly sensitive person. And where I really wanted to focus on the gift of being a highly sensitive, more than the negative of being. So I wrote this ebook where I really emphasize that. I'm really proud of it. I think it's very beautiful designed.
Cool.
So that is there for your free download. And just for the listeners here, I would also like to offer a free half-hour magnificence session. What do we call it? Like jumpstart to magnificence session. So half an hour for anybody who wants to do that. And you can find me on Facebook, Gitte Lassen, send me a private message, or you can email me, gittelassen.com.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you. So if you're watching today and you found Gitte to be as inspiring as I think she is, and you want to learn more, then go to her website, download her ebook, and register for her Facebook group, Magical, Mystical, Magnificent Women. I wrote it down, so I was cheating. and send her an email if you want to take her up on her generous offer of jump-starting yourself on your way to your magnificence. Thank you, Gitte, for your time, and thank you for this interview and your inspiration for today.
It has been my total pleasure, and you're so welcome. I think it's so important that we share our stories,
Yes.
How we have done it. So yes, thank you for inviting me to be part of this.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.